What's up, Tim? Power monitoring or something else, huh? So hopefully we don't have the same audio issue we had before with the being too bassy or whatnot. What's up, BK? Comp Neo in the house, huh? You doing all right down south, Comp Neo? It kind of fizzled out for us, so it wasn't. Which is I'm totally fine with that to be a fizzle out or just be typical thunderstorms. So yeah, I was looking at the oh well, yeah. I'm very surprised. I have not had power issues just yet, so um, that doesn't surprise. I'm very surprised of that, but looks like it's gone to the west a good bit, so which is good. And we haven't had near the amount of rain that they talked about because they were even talking about the Comeet River next to me being higher than it was in 2016. So yeah, we were just on the side of the storm path, but it looks like it did fizzle out for the most part. I'm over here in this area, and it looks like the core of it's over here right now. And they kept saying it was going to be dragging a lot of rain bands onto the coast, but it's been just off and on kind of drizzling. It actually rained more a couple of days before, so yeah, I which is fine. Which is fine. I didn't. We had in 2016. We had like right at 30 inches right in my area within like a 30-hour period, and I was able to kayak from my front yard and kayak around the neighborhood and come in the back and get out of the kayak in the back. But that was right at 30 inches. So, and if they were saying like 20 inches, so I wasn't too worried about it from me that in that aspect. So, I need to fix this. Must have made this smaller for some reason. So, so I had no real content. I was gonna do some recording later, so I figured why not? I have to set the stuff up and do a quick live stream. I did. I haven't configured it yet. I did go through and put another clamp on a circuit, and I don't know if I have the right calibration in it yet. So I'm gonna do that real quick. It should be the same. Yeah, see, I don't have the right calibration in it. It's going to be CT3. It's actually the circuit that I have on where this live stream stuff is at. So we'll see what happens with it. Just finished setting up eTech. Okay, good photo 64. Did you have that same issue? And see, I only have one of the plugs, so I don't know. Maybe it could have been a hardware issue, and I had where the voltage is dropping every once in a while. The amperage doesn't drop, just the voltage. Quick question: 200 feet from where the unit will be mounted? Wow. Hmm. I don't know if you can run those CT cables that long. I don't know. I don't. You trying to like put the CTs 200 feet away and then put the ESP in another location? If you're using clamps and using a new breaker to power the device. Actually, I did use a new breaker in the device. Actually, I added one I had an open 15 amp, and I actually added one right below it. Yeah, see, Mike, and that's actually kind of my deal is where my breaker panel is at is actually I have to walk through the carport and go into what we call the shop where we store like the lawnmower and stuff and a bunch of tools and other junk. The little, so we call it the shop, and that's where my breaker panel's at. Um, but I just mounted all that right there. But now, luckily, due to I've got two with the Unify access points, I get fine. Wi-Fi is perfectly fine out there, so I was able to mount it close to it. That I don't know if you'd be able to mount if you do that those far. I really don't know. So we'll see how this. This is that C6 spare. How do I get? Oh, I'm trying to monitor two shops and how. I can just say you really just have to give it a try. I don't know. I haven't seen anybody saying that they've extended the CT clamp wires far. Just keep in mind that you don't want those getting cut or anything or damaged. While they're used, of course. No, I don't have a whole house surge protector in the panel. I've always wondered. I've seen several of those installed where like it installs as a spare breaker, and then it jumps to ground somehow. I haven't installed one of those. How do I get devices that show up in HASIO? That's kind of an open question. What type of devices, Mike? I guess Mike Kindig. You talking about home or Tasmota? It really depends, Mike, on. And I'm going to turn the gain down a little bit on this thing, apparently. Let's see if we can turn it down. Yeah, BK, that was that one where like you just put it in as a spare breaker and it just connects to the neutral. I always wonder how that works. Like, I guess it's just looking for extra power that's coming in and it's going to dump it down to neutral. Okay. So Mike Kendig, there's a couple ways for like with Tasmota. Well, it's just with ESP Home. If you use the API, it'll just come up inside of the configuration. If you go to integrations, and you should have one come up as for ESP Home. Now I don't have any in here, even though I am using ESP Home, but because I'm using MQTT with ESP Home. I do have auto discovery turned on, and they automatically do pop up. And if you do go check in the top right hand corner and say unused entities, you're going to get all of your unused entities that are not being put on the main display. So yeah. Basically get fried, open the main, but hopefully say, oh, okay, makes sense. So that's, and once you see them pop into here, then you can just put it, basically go edit your GUI and put them in there. Now for Tasmota, there's two different ways to do it with Tasmota. There's, let's see if you go to Tasmota wiki. And scroll down on the right, you'll see the, I can't find it right now, smart home integrations, and look for Home Assistant. And there's a couple, the one way a lot of people do like to use is, I don't use it myself because I didn't start with, this one wasn't here when I was started. And also because I test a lot of stuff and stuff's in and out, I like to do it manually. If you go in and put set option 19.1, set option 19 space 1 on the console of the device, and actually I lie. I do have one that is set up that way with the temperature sensor and the Wemos in my attic. And it will automatically, as soon as you put it on the console, it will publish all that stuff to MQTT Discovery, and you can look in unused entities. Sometimes that does require a restart of Home Assistant to pull that stuff information in, but it will pop in. If you want to do it manually, there's in the same. If you look in these manual configs, if you scroll down, they'll give you a lot of information on how to put in switches and if the stuff to copy and paste into your configuration YAML. Yeah, that set option 19.1 is auto discovery. And if I see, in the same way to take it out, by the way. Let's see. I don't remember we can grab it from here. We should be able to. It should be, yeah, attic nodes. And see, this doesn't always work for me correctly all the time. But it's supposed to show like the IP address and like how many disconnects, but it is showing like the humidity and the temperature, and I just don't remember the IP address to it. Let's see. If I remember the name of it. Yeah, 164. Let's see. So you can see with this one, if you do set option 19.0, it's actually going to take it out, and you should see it populate a bunch of stuff to MQTT. I bet you it's probably rebooting. I think it does it on a reboot, I believe. No, okay. Make a liar out of me. So set option 19.1. Oh, I know why. Because I upgraded the firmware on it that I compile that does not have auto discovery. So that is one thing. Which is a good. Make sure you are using a firmware that does have. If you look under releases, that does have. If you want to use the auto discovery, use the regular Sonos. See, if you look at use Home Assistant, if you're using like classic or basic or of course minimal, you won't get the auto discovery. So make sure you're using like the regular Sonos bin. Otherwise, you're not going to get the auto discovery in there. Yeah, so there we are. So you'll see all these different config and retain messages popping up. That's all going to be from the auto discovery from the set option 19.1. If you do want to take them out, if you do set option 19.0, it will unpublish all of those configs to pull them out and put them blank. And then if you want to just put it back, you just set option 19.1 and it will publish all those back. So I don't know if I really messed that up doing that, but we'll see. It may have. Yeah, it's going to publish that. So start with the auto discovery first, get your feet wet type deal if you haven't done it before. And then you also, if you want to do them manually, you can look at the stuff manually. So let's see. What else we got? I know we weren't doing anything crazy and had no subject matter. I did have a bunch of stuff that I got from AliExpress that I haven't opened yet. Um, Although they shorted me a couple things, of course. I think it's this, which I've ordered from that store. It's like module fans, I believe. I've ordered from them several times before, and never had an issue. Um, let's see. And yeah, so I ordered a bunch, of course, a bunch of jumpers. Turn the camera right. So of course, I ordered. You always have a bunch of jumper wires. This I've gotten one of these from a Sonoff RF before, and they do work with the Sonoff bridge, and I thought they were pretty cool. Actually, I use one in the. My wife has one on her side of the bed for doing like turning on different lights, and I wanted to get my one for myself, and so this was like a couple dollars, I believe, for a little 433 megahertz remote. Of course, more jumper wires. And PIR, and of course the same. I got PIR sensors again. I think these are regular Wemos D1 Mini. Full kiosk on their tablet. That is one thing I haven't done yet. I haven't mounted. I did actually just get one of those Google Hubs. I don't know if they're gonna change the name on it 10 different times. It feels like one of the Google Max, not Max, the Nest Hub, or they're calling it now, I believe. And I saw that Paulus had released some stuff. They're going to be doing a full interface from it, which I thought was kind of cool. The only reason I picked it up was because I had a credit from buying. I had my Pixel 3a XL. I had a $100 credit, so I went ahead and bought that. Oh, the remotes. And I know, sorry if I hear all the crumpling because I'm trying to open this stuff. I should have opened it beforehand, right? I'm trying to think. I got the only thing interesting I got, of course, some ESP32s. Was these two sensors. So I'll save you the crumpling noise. I don't know if anybody's messed with these. And I will, let me open these right quick. I thought messing with these later. And of course, this one doesn't have the little. So does it do you have to using it for the Chamberlain? Like, does it you have to pair it up with it or anything? Because I know those codes aren't. There's not rolling codes in those things. It just seems very, for lighting, it's fine. But I don't know if I would probably want to use that for remote the garage door. So I picked up one of these. Was like $11. Was, let me fix this stupid zoom on it thing. This was the one that was $11, I believe, even off AliExpress. This one was a couple dollars, just an RGB sensor. If I can get it out the glare. It was the. I'm trying to remember what it was. Gonna make me log in. So hold on one second. Sign in. What's up, Federico? We'll just start over. That's no big deal. And it's actually, we're not doing anything too crazy anyway. So, this was This was the this was that one sensor. Let me bring this screen up. This was the one sensor I was messing with. I wanted to mess with just because it wasn't too expensive and it was an RGB sensor. I don't know if anybody's messed with those yet. And then this guy was a carbon dioxide, temperature, humidity sensor, and air quality monitor sensor. And it's looks like it's two sensors on one I squared C bus board. It is the CCS 811 and then the HDC 1080 humidity and temperature sensor. Okay, I'll post the links to. You can kind of follow along, right? And yeah, the other stuff was your typical PIRs, some ESP32s, some WeMos, and I think I had a little for another little project. I wanted a voltage DC voltmeter, actually for our camper, actually. So, which is a work in progress. Unless y'all want to see some of that. We've been building a project been going on for a while. I've been building a camper from the ground up. That sensor isn't supported by Tasmota. I don't. Let's do CCS 811 Tasmota. Well, looks like it is because someone says it stops working. Excuse me. Let's see. I don't know if I don't. Let's see. As this sensor is TCS 34725. I think that one is. Nope. Okay. And then the HDC 1080. HDC 1080. No, it looks like HDC 1080. Oh, there's an issue about it. Yeah, I wasn't too worried about it being if it was going to be in Tasmota or not. I just wanted it to be in one of them. I see there's that CCS 811 there in ESP Home. And then HDC 1080 is there in ESP Home as well. So I figured I could do it if Tasmoto has support for it, or if it later gets support, as long as one of them had it. Or I could even do the whole ESP Easy thing. So I'm sure something was going to have those sensors. Oh, and the GMU repos. Okay. I haven't really got that was just really one of those impulse things. I was just scrolling through I squared C stuff and just like, hey, I want one of those RGB sensors. I've seen somebody else talking about one before. And then I started looking at it. I was like, well, I'm going to get me a BME 680. But then, of course, I started looking at some other little air sensors and saw that one and went with that one. One thing I did want to do before I forget is I wanted to fix. Yeah, I usually end up with a lot of random stuff in my cart, and then I'm like, okay, I just want to spend $30-$40, on something, ordering some stuff, and then I'm looking down, I've got $100 of stuff, and so I end up cutting stuff out. But as I start, comparing different things. So what's up, Glenn? We're not missing a whole lot. We're just kind of jumping around at things, and I was if you can't, was the link to which one, Helen? Yeah, that was the one sensor I was glad I was supposed to get a 4 relay board, and they shorted me on the 4 relay board. One set of jumpers and something else stupid. So luckily they did that on the small ones. If air quality goes low, turn the air purifier. They could put that one in the bathroom, right? It's for the automatic vents. I already have automatic vents for um, humidity, and that's always pretty cool. Um, yeah, Glenn, we were just. I figured I was setting up to do some recording anyway, and I'm doing some recording on hopefully trying to get a quick, trying to keep it under 10 minutes because it's a super simple switch. Is the Martin Jerry 3-way switch, and it's pretty. I would say it's pretty cool. Because it requires the cool part is it about it. Let's see, 3-way. It's just no dimming. Get out the way. I'll pull it up here. So it's their regular looking switch. It looks just like their dimmers and their regular single pole switches. And it does not. That comes pre with the patch firmware. Unfortunately, just about seems like most things are coming these days. So you do need to solder just 3 wires to it. Make sure I can see on the screen. So yeah, just 3. You have to just solder 3 wires: RX, TX, and GPIO 0. I did actually use the plug for 3.3 volts and ground. Didn't have to solder those. But the cool part is the switch, and we talked about this in another stream. It actually when it boots up, it actually it actually has a pin from the base to the button, and so it pushes the button and turns the switch on and off itself, and is trying to detect if the load is there or not, and because the 3-way, which way is on or off, and so it doesn't require any rules like say the E-Tech City did or the Moe's 3-way switch did. And it works pretty cool, and it works just with a simple template, no rules, just a template of the relay button or switch, so you can do long press, of course. And then you have your red and blue LEDs, so you can do those. And I configured mine where like they're red when they're off and then blue when they're on. Or you can also flip it around the other way. So pretty cool little switch. Let's see. So back to I wanted to add in my other one I just did in Grafana. I just added a clamp for CT6. Should be this one. For the bench. All right. Yeah, well, let's see. Yeah, see, nothing was on the bench earlier. And then we do have stuff now. So check, but is there a video for setting up long press? Oh, we can go through that real quick. So I can show you several of them I have. The long press stuff is, I don't have anything set up to show you exactly at the same time, but let's see. Actually, this was right here. This is the more. This is it. The one I have installed. To set up the long press on a switch, you will need to make sure that you do have. Well, this is going to be in a template. You need to make sure and have. You can't use it as the button. Now there is other options for doing different button presses, like you can do like double press and things. And I normally don't get into those because I've had some issues and just haven't worked with it a whole lot. Oh, okay. All right, for Federico. Oh, HTC not supported for now. Okay. So I normally just kind of do my go-to is doing a switch. And if you go to make sure you have it set up as a switch, then you'll need to do your switch mode. So I'll hit save and then wait for it to reboot. So typically, and what I'm setting for switch mode, and I do have a video showing on the switch mode. I'm trying to go to commands. I have a really old video, one of my older school videos. Probably when I was doing. Let's see. We can watch ourselves live, right? We can just create a vortex and loop around, right? Probably like my second or third video, like probably so way back. If you look in this video here, and we'll do a share and we'll copy, and that one also talks about doing some of the rules and stuff, which is a misconception a lot of people get all the time on Tasmota is they think that there's only you can only put 3 rules, but it's 3 rule buckets or buffers. Yeah, so it creates the link. So here we go, is to do for the switch mode. Switch mode. So what you'll need to do is for switch mode is going to be switch mode is for each switch. So if you do a switch mode 1, now which typically what I've seen most switches, you'll be using switch mode 5, and the default is 1, and then 0 is toggle. Usually I think it's when it goes low, I believe, and then hold equals hold. So what that means is all you typically do is type in switch mode. It's not switch demo, Travis. Switch mode 1, and you'll see I have this one set to, if I zoom in, you can see it. I have it set to switch mode 1 of 5. And then set option 32. And you're probably, well, what is set option 32? Well, let's go take a look. Set option lists. And you can see I'm just finding all this stuff out of the wiki. The wiki is just huge with the amount of information. And you just type in these commands in the console. That's the number of seconds that you have to hold down the button on the switch. And it defaults to 40, and that's going to be 4 seconds. And that's quite a bit of time to hold down a switch, to get like a second option. And so I like to do like a 7 or 8 when that gives me like a 7/10 of a second or 8/10 of a second. And what that will do is it puts out a different message, but a different option of the way. I'll just explain. I'll show you in a rule. So rule 1, that's just for LED power. So what you'll do is I have a rule, and you'll say on switch 1 state equals 3. the state equals 3 is going to be your long press. And then you can kind of do whatever you want after that. You could then say publish, command, and you could say my other switch, power, toggle, end on. And then what that would do is that if you follow along in the video, I show some of the long press stuff, is that would allow you to do if you long press on one switch, it'll actually send a message directly over to another switch to turn on. And we use those quite a lot. Like one use case I have is it's a long bathroom. There's, of course, you have one switch when you come in, and that does the vanity area, and then the bathroom where the toilet and the shower is at, we have a vent and a fan in there, and I have a smart switch on there as well. Well, if you just want to turn on that the light that's in the shower and not have to worry about turning on the light that's in the vanity, instead of just pressing once on the light switch, we press and hold for 7/10 of a second, and it turns on the light on the other side of the bathroom. And so you don't have to turn the other light on, of course, waste electricity, etc. And same thing, I have another switch in my kitchen that does a little node red, where if you hold down the button on one of the dimmers, we do the same thing with the Martin Jerry dimmers, will turn on all the lights in the kitchen at 100%. And I just have node red send off like 3 messages. Yeah, and so yeah, even like if I did this, that's gonna send it outside of Home Assistant, and because it's sending a MQTT message directly from that. Well, it goes to the broker, of course, but it doesn't rely on Home Assistant running. It just relies on your MQTT broker. And also, you look in the Shelly video that I did around that same time. I cover some long press stuff with the Shelly switch as well. And actually, I did because people were asking how to do just do a web send. It'll send a web packet over to another switch. Hey, what's up, Dinotech? Yeah, luckily I still have electricity. I'm holding on. It flickered a couple times today and yesterday, but I've been very lucky, Dinotech. So, what are the questions we got out there? Yeah, I haven't. The wind hasn't been too bad. Let's see why. And that sucker's booking along, which is fine for me. Yeah, we didn't get much at all yet, which is fine. Which is totally, because they were saying it was going to be totally. They were even saying, which I know Dynotech's kind of in the area. I don't know if you've done some streams with Doc and stuff. They were saying the Comiat River was supposed to be like half a foot higher than it was in 2016. So, which that would have been bad, very bad. I haven't seen too many stuff setting up, and like it's only like there's 5 miles, 6 miles, 5 miles. So the winds actually died down a good bit. Looking at some of the weather stations, I see some 7. Now this is getting more towards the center of things, but the highest I saw some of these was like in the 30s, but that was off towards the coast. 14, 15, yeah. So I say we for the most part, most of us lucked out compared to what the forecast were saying. So I bet you the Comiat River. But as long as I can make it to New Orleans on Monday, I will be happy. See, and I still don't get. This is the Comiat River not far from me. I still don't get why they've relaxed this a good bit, but they were showing this is gonna be higher than the record. I still don't see where. I mean, we just haven't had the rain yet. So, and I don't think we're gonna really have the rain that they're thinking at this point. So, everybody, oh, don't do that. So I was show you a pretty cool project. I gotta make sure. Let me pull up my albums first. I think it's gonna be in order. How do we get the activity off? Let's see if we can slide this over without making it full screen, like I just did. So this is I know this is a non-tech thing. This is what we started with, and it's been a slow project, but we pulled it down and did built a deck in it, insulated it, built some walls. You can see it starting to take some shape. We put the flooring in it, put some cedar flooring in it. Started building the front of it on the inside. You can see some of it starting to take shape on the inside. And started doing the inside, insulating things. I started some of the wiring and electrical stuff and cut the door out. Here's some of it done on the inside. And putting the vent in it and started building the bunks. And you can tell it's a little older because little man's a little bit bigger by now. All of my crap of electrical stuff. Doing the start of the electrical, the wife kept adding plugs, which was, it got a little absurd. Putting the skin on it, putting lighting on it on the sides, and that's some power supply stuff I was doing. It's a 30 amp single phase feed, and started back putting the, let's see, I don't know if she has any other pictures. It's the door's on now. It does have a door on it. That's just some protective skin. And it does have an AC and electrical. I've done the electrical now. And the back is getting done. This will be buffed out, but it's slowly getting there. So that's my the teardrop build deal. So no smart tech in it yet, so maybe eventually. Well, if we don't have anything else going on, we might cut this short stream a little short. Been a long day. Yeah, that's been a long process. So I've got, you got to make it like the guy with his boat. Oh, um, yeah. Eventually, we still got I still got like the fenders to do, and I got electrical to do in the kitchen area, and then we put the gas shocks on, and what else? It's really, and then I got to cut the metal skin on top for the vent, and but the electrical's done in there, and I robbed the 12-volt power supply out of it, so I gotta put the 12-volt power supply back in because the lighting is 12 volts in some spots. Then I gotta wire in the trailer lights and stuff. So I probably will end up putting some LED lighting inside that's 12 volts under the bunk and stuff, and then probably 12 volts underneath. That was a 10-foot trailer. It's 5 by 10, and we went a little high with it, but I don't know if I showed that kind of wraparound picture. Let me see. And I'm no major woodworker at all. Let me show. I did like that wraparound picture of the inside. Let's see. Yeah, because if I have one, this kind of shows there's a bunk. This is the bunk, and it's notched out because the AC fits here. And then it wraps around. This is looking into the door, and so this will be there's a spot for one person to sleep here, and then the little man will sleep right here, and then there's two spots for two adults here, so it'll sleep the four of us. And this is a little bench type deal with covers on it, and this little spar is actually not here. That was just there for when we were putting it together, and I was testing out the bunk to see how well it holds. Let's see. I'm trying to see if she did another picture on it. Yeah, that one's a little bit better. You can see the bench and stuff. I want to say I did one inside. That was like a panoramic. Yeah, this is about the only one, but it's not stained yet. So, in that picture. What is GVW, Dynotech? So, let's see. Try to see if we had a little better. This one's a little bit better picture of it. You can kind of tell the look of it. It's just a 5 by 10. So, hey, what's up, Phil? Yeah, well, I guess you have to rewind, I guess. And I think this was me showing the lighting of it. But I'm putting the, it kind of looks like, I always laughed. It looked kind of like a spacecraft from the front. Oh, gross vehicle weight. That's a very good idea. A very good question. Because it probably has ended up being heavier than we wanted to. It still is not, I can pick it up and move it by hand still. So as long as I can pick it up, move it by hand still, which I can't do with, say, a four-wheeler. We used to put a four-wheeler on it, or two four-wheelers, and I can't move it. I couldn't move it with a four-wheeler on it. Well, I can pick it up right now and move it, so it's going to be less than it would be when we've traveled with a lot of stuff on it. So I'm not too worried about that. So, but this was the inside of the door on it with the little roll-out window. So I did put I threw a Wemos D1 Mini and I think a SHT31 temperature sensor, and I put the AC in it on a hot day and fired it up and put the AC on at full blast, and it did get down to like 58 degrees Fahrenheit inside. So plenty enough air conditioning in it, and so I can see the wife wanting to. She'll probably be too cold, and she'll want to open the window on it and turn the vent on even with the AC running, because it's probably too much air conditioning. Because we did put 3/4 inch insulation on the top and the roof, which the some of the blueprints we'd found didn't call for that, but I went ahead and did it. So yeah, there is that's what storage is. I have actually storage in the tongue. There's a tongue box that gets mounted on the front, and the tongue box will have storage, and then there will be storage in the bench. I'm trying to see if you can see the bench in one of these photos. You can kind of see it here a little bit. You can see the bench in it right there. So that's going to be all our storage. Plus, we will have all the storage in the kitchen area as well, which that's the big part we're wanting to. We got to finish. It looks about like this right now. So I don't know if we're keeping. I think we are keeping those cabinets, and it's going to have I call them a dorm room refrigerator freezer that sits about this high and fits in this spot. So long delay between chat and stream. Yeah, there is that's the YouTube thing with the stuff. Hey, what's up, Cedric? Yeah, I figure we still have power, so why not throw in a late night stream? I do some recording anyway. So, but actually, we were just about to finish wrapping it up. Unless anybody had any other crazy questions or anything. If not, we'll I want to see if my power monitoring is going to work on here that I've added now for this one. So I believe it has. So the little red line there with the 4A, which actually I guess I can find out. Plug in the old soldering iron, right? Oh, I appreciate it, Cedric. Wow, there you go. You owe me this anyway, huh? It's all fun. Me and Cedric go way back for several years. Is a I think I met you that one time when I went up to your area. I don't know if you want to say what area. I won't let you say it if you want to. The northern part of the states. So it was a fun trip, but to meet all the gang up there. Let's see real quick before I jet. I want to see if that did work. With the power monitoring. It's way north from Louisiana, right? Yeah, we did jump up a good bit when I turned on the soldering iron. So all right, well, if nobody has any other crazy questions, and I would get this little stream in. And if you don't hear from me, I didn't fall off the earth, just went on vacation. So if you don't get any messages back from me or emails or Discord messages next week, then you'll know why, and I'll try to catch up when I get back. So, and because I'll try to disconnect as much as possible from the. Oh, he's going on vacation as well. Okay, cool. Well, I'm not going on vacation with the doc. I'm actually going out on a cruise, so going to Mexico. I must think I live with Santa Claus. Well, see, it just snows all year round, right? In Buffalo, right? Anyway, Matt. Which kidding, of course. But all right. Well, I appreciate everybody watching and do this little thing. Oh, he's on a cruise too. Really? Go see what cruise he's on. Maybe he would be. Hopefully, he's not on the same one. That would be crazy if we were on the same one. That'd be nuts. That would not be planned at all. But there's many cruises, so I'm sure he's on a different one. So I was just looking at mine, make sure it wasn't going to be canceled or moved with the storm, but it isn't. So all right. Well, good night, everybody, and take it easy.